Yeah,
Question
they're
for
over
you.
there rocking it out.
You're in the music business.
Yes,
When song leaks or things like that happen, is that on purpose?
I think so.
It's on purpose,
But
right?
but I like the few times our videos have leaked, we didn't know about it. But in the back of our mind, we're always like, I feel like somebody was like,
Somebody
hey,
was
just we're gonna put this out, a couple hours early, and then we'll take it down, and then we'll put it out like as a proper release. But I don't know
Because I always
for
hear
sure.
like, oh, it's been a trailer leak, and I'm like, how does that?
Yeah.
Who did somebody like hack into this? I mean, I guess it's possible. Sony got hacked.
Sony did get hacked.
So yeah, we actually got. Did you get that letter when Sony got hacked? Because when we did the Glee album.
I think I remember
Yeah, it was
something like that.
Your privacy may have been.
Yes. I remember getting an email, and then you got to sign up for like the free, whatever,
Like ID theft, whatever.
yeah, theft like ID protection or something.
That's all we got out of it, guys. We didn't get any settlements. We just got free theft protection, which is fine.
Yeah.
I guess. That and every time. I mean, I guess it is possible to get hacked though, because you got like people's pictures get it, whatever. So I won't deny that it's possible.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's a planned out thing or not. I couldn't tell you.
I just got verified on Twitter.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah, it's a big deal. Nothing changed. But like the first thing, it was like, be aware that you may be more at risk for being hacked. And I was like, that's it. That's what I get.
That's what you get. Yeah, that's so funny.
It's funny. I was joking with my friend. It happened, and then everybody was like, congratulations, you deserve this. And I was like, I love how I can put out like, here's something I made, and people are like, I don't care.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm
verified.
Yes.
You know why? It's social media, man. Social media has taken over.
I know.
For some reason, and I don't know why. It
watched,
drives me crazy.
Black Mirror?
No, I heard it's amazing though.
There's an episode from this newest season on Netflix where it's Bryce Dallas Howard, and the whole thing is every time you interact with anybody, you like rate your experience with them, or you like rate them.
Yeah.
And like if you
It's like Uber.
Yeah, and if you dip below like 3, then like you begin to lose like privileges, like you can't go to certain places, you can't shop, you can't eat at certain places.
Really?
And nobody wants to hang out with you because if you're a low number and they're a high number,
they're like, this guy's a dick. We don't want to hang out.
It'll bring the averages down. It's so good. And then this woman like ends up just like going like screw it, and she ends up. Well, I don't get it. It's great. Check it out.
I gotta
It's
watch
awesome.
it. Yeah,
It's
don't
great.
tell me anything.
The whole
else.
thing with Black Mirror is it's about social media and technology in the very near future, and how it's going to destroy and kill everybody. So
Sweet. I am on that train because I think that's definitely possible.
Do you find when I first started, I remember like having a conversation when we were on the Glee tour of like, I just gotten on Twitter, and I remember like you would just hit like 10,000 followers.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And I still in many ways think it's cool, and I still use it, and it's a great
me
tool.
too. Absolutely.
But like, man, my perception of its cons versus pros has changed significantly.
You know what? It was like when it first kind of started, it was like this really neat tool to interact with people around the world. And that's what I took at, as it, and now it's like, it's not about, people don't care about interacting with people. They just want to show what they're doing.
Right. And I find it difficult because then when you don't have, like, when I have something I'm doing, it's like, I'm doing this. But then, like, those gaps in your life where, 2 or 3 weeks, you're just being a person.
Yeah, you're just a normal person and working. And,
I don't know, like, what to put out there. And so then I feel like, if I don't put something out, people will forget that I'm here. And then, I don't know. And I think it also creates people who, I don't say this judgmentally, but, like, people who kind of are stars because of social media.
Yeah.
I think there's this compulsion, and I get it, to just like constantly put something out there because that is their bread and butter. It's how they, if you go away, people go like, they forget about you. I don't know. It's tough.
It's a weird thing that they, like, people's attention spans are so shortened because of it. And it's
and I'm very grateful. I've used it to crowdfund, and I've used it to, I did a whole sketch comedy tour. We just tweet out the link of tickets and people show up. So like, I'm so grateful for it, but I'm also, maybe I'm getting old, but I'm like, these kids and their technology.
Right? I know, right, dude? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Not conversation, an observation yesterday where somebody who is, well into his 20s. And this is not a judgment on anybody who uses the Musical.ly app. If you do, that's fine. But he he was talking. I was sitting in an office, and I could hear somebody outside being like, "Oh man, I'm blowing up. I'm just blowing up on Musical.ly. It's crazy." And I was like, "Is this guy for real?" And like I went outside, and like the girl he was talking to was so sweet, and she's like, "Oh, what is Musical.ly?" He's like, "Yo, it's like this app where it's like, I just hit like 1,000 followers. It's crazy. I'm getting mad exposure." He sounded like Aaron Paul in Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And I in that moment I went, I am an old man because I know what Musical.ly is, but why?
If it makes you feel any better, I don't know what that is. And I am a musician. I probably should. Oh, that's what it is.
You like lip sync to songs. You don't sing. You just lip sync.
Okay.
But people like get real complicated with their camera, like their arm movements. And
right, the selfie.
It's mostly because I teach acting stuff, and most of my like 10-year-old students are on it. So to hear a 25-year-old guy be like, "I'm blowing up, bro."
Yeah.
I was like, really? Anyway. So I feel old.
Yeah, social media is as many as things where, nowadays it's like kind of weird. It is still a great tool to be able to, the fact that we're going to Brazil next week for the third time is, a large reason because of social media, because people are able to watch and listen to our music online. You know what I mean?
I find that it brings out the people who really love what you do stick, and then the people who don't move on. And so, it kind of filters itself out. But it is like,
as much as we bash social media, it's still a great thing.
It's a great thing. Yeah, totally. So, okay, let's actually get into the actual details of the podcast.
I know. Sorry, we're good friends, and we haven't really fully caught up in a minute.
I know.
So.
This is us catching up.
Yeah.
On the air. It's not really the air, but So, okay, this is one of the reasons I wanted to sit down with you. The whole, I think, idea of this was I love stories more than anything. Mm-hmm. And I just, the origins of this podcast were I was telling you this earlier as you were making me my bulletproof coffee.
Yes,
this podcast is brought to you by Bulletproof Coffee. Get yours today. It's really good. Seriously, do it.
Do it.
I was just arguing with somebody who I've always been that guy who will, like I said, sit in the parking lot for 3 hours after a movie and talk theories and ideas. And I realized that some people are not down for that. Some people just want to go watch movies, listen to something, and just be like, okay, cool, yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. I'm not that. I'm like, let's talk about it. Let's get into it. And, and so when I had the idea of I want to sit down with different artists from just every different medium. Because I think the thing for me that I love, especially with music, but with films, with television, is the idea of telling stories with different methods. A painter paints, a sculptor sculpts, musicians make music. So I guess the question for you is, what is storytelling to you? And especially through what you do and through your, because you do a lot of things, but let's talk about music specifically for a moment. How do you tell stories through music? What's your approach?
For me, I think the core of it is obviously going to come through lyrics, but the sort of emotion, the pre-emotion before you hear the lyrics, is what you feel when the song. As soon as the song, it's the first 3 seconds of the song.
Right.
That's already going to sort of set up the emotion. There's so many aspects of storytelling. There's the emotion. There's the arc. There's transitions of emotions. There's the details of lyrics. So the thing with music is every little piece matters, especially for us in R5. Every little thing is important. There's never an instrument or a rhythm or a lyric that was just sort of thrown out there. Every single little detail of this thing is very, very thought out, and it's all about telling a story or getting somebody to feel something.
Right. And I think that's what, coming from a musical theater background, which is a little different, but really I don't think it is.
Because they're very similar.
I always loved, I had a teacher when I was, I remember I was doing preparing for an audition, and I used to get so scared about singing, which is a lot of people are like, well, you sing, but I to this day still probably get the most nervous about singing. And my teacher was like, you have to stop thinking of it as people just listening to like how precise you are like on your notes. You have to think of it like where there are no more words, there is music.
Yeah.
Where there is nothing more to say, that is where music comes in. And that's like, when you watch a movie, like I always think it's amazing when I like write and shoot something and then I watch it and I go like, oh, that's pretty good. And then you put something on it, music over it, and you go, oh my, so that to me is what music is. Where words fail, music brings something.
It's such an extra, just especially in movies, it's such an extra, like necessary, important thing that kind of goes unnoticed sometimes. Like, have you ever watched a scary movie on mute?
Without mute, yeah.
It's not really that scary.
No.
It's the music adds so much. And another thing I love about music, we were just in Africa. We just went on safari, me and my brothers and my dad, sort of a father-son trip. We've been planning on doing it for like 10 years.
How was that?
It was unbelievable. We can talk more about it in a minute. But music is... There's no place in the world you can go where there's not some sort of music. And in Africa and in these tribes that we were talking to and sort of interacting with, it's a lot of rhythmic stuff. And there's almost no like chords. So we had guitars and they were like mind blown about these guitars. It was the coolest thing. But anyways, music is completely universal.
Right.
Wherever you go, there's going to be some sort of like music thing. And when it comes to storytelling, like we just said, it adds such an extra level of just, I think emotion is the best word with it,
The thing I love too, one of my things I do most often is I coach actors for sitcoms a lot. Mm-hmm. A lot of times it's like Nick and Disney stuff, but I've started to really change my whole approach with looking at scripts. I used to think of them as like, oh, these are words and these are things that somebody is saying. And yeah, it's true, and you have to feel it or whatever. But really, like, great acting on a page is like more and more to me a piece of music.
Yeah.
Where if you are behind the tempo, ahead of the tempo, if you are, the metaphor I use is I go, you could have the best voice ever, but if you're playing with a band and you are like 4 beats ahead of them, it's not gonna work. It's gonna sound disjointed.
So
and
true.
Off. Mm-hmm. And I just think that there's this weird like musicality in that we all kind of feel like internally with stories.
Totally, especially in a sitcom. There's a very important tempo that you gotta lock on to.
Right.
I definitely know what you're
something
talking about.